Hello, son. This is the last time I'm going to spam you with this investment sheet unless you find some serious bugs and need me to try to work on some things. I brought your mother down to the basement and had her sit down with your last investment spreadsheet, the one I emailed you. And she kind of grinned at me, said, "Paul, that's unusable." So I made some major revamps. I always credited your mother for my early retirement because she's the one that usually oversaw my projects at Lilly that nobody knew about. And anyway, getting back on, old people always go on tangents. I'll try to stay off. Uh, I've left the green button here that generate buy and sell stock sheets, but just about everything else on this application has changed. I tried to clean out most of the old crappy code and make this a total standalone tool to buy and sell stocks. Uh, all your sheets that you can access are now in this little yellow box, this little drop box. And let's see, I should have made that a little bigger, but you can still see them all. We have a main menu, which is this. We have stocks to buy or sell, and this is the sheet that opens up. Let's see, make sure I get this just exactly on. Whenever the application is finished for buying and selling stocks, it opens up in this view right here. And you notice, I'm sure you'll find some bugs in this, but I tried to have this highlight exactly how it was sorted and what sheet you're on. And that's a little more complicated than I was able to, a 62-year-old hacker like me was able to do. But anyway, this is how it opens up. The next one is a mutual funds list. And this is the main sheet that all the information is gathered from. I've tried to get the top 70 mutual funds. I think I got this from Money Magazine on their website. And you notice all the Lipper information is filled out and all the interest rates are filled out here. And that was done with this button right here. But the problem is this goes to a website, marketwatch.com, and it's the slowest damn site I ever saw in my life. So it takes about 15 minutes to populate this. But since we're running an average 5-year interest rate, you probably won't need to run this more than once a year. And if you want to add some, you just come down to the bottom here and you can add another fund, or you can delete funds if you wish. Just make sure there's no spaces between the funds, because I'm an old Southern Indiana hacker, and I read until I get on a space, and that's when I quit. And you can sort this any way you want. I personally like it sorted by descending interest rates, and that way, when I come to the next sheet I'm going to show you, they're sorted in order by performance of the mutual fund. Also, if you add a new one and you type the tickers in here, you just click this button and it automatically creates a link. So you don't have to go to all the trouble in OpenOffice to create a link on these. And the way you access a link on OpenOffice is Control left click. And I'm sure you know that. So the next sheet we go to, and this is the sheet that's generated, and I was telling you it goes by decreasing performance of these different mutual funds. And here's where you can do a little research if you wish. to see what each one of these mutual funds hold. Like this in Citigroup's number 1. Here's another in Citigroup's number 1. And you notice some of these are more leaning toward bonds, and some lean more. Google and Amazon's number 2, and it just kind of shows you how each one of these mutual funds and the stocks they hold, and the percent change of shares they did on that particular day. You notice a lot of these don't have tickers. If they don't have tickers, I blow them off. So you might be able to fix that better than I did. But I figure anything, if they don't want to put a ticker on it, it's not worth buying. And this is all the mutual funds, like the fund ticker. So it shows you the fund and the performance and the change of shares. And this sheet's just mainly for your information. Like if you're curious about how shares are sold, like you can take Adobe here. Yeah, nobody sold that, but you can see if we can find one here where one fund sells a bunch and the other funds buy a bunch, and that's pretty much the day trading that these mutual funds do. You had the worksheet, and this is where your mother insisted I write this. This takes those god-awful weights that we see here, 15,871, and actually builds your portfolio by percent of the portfolio. And I'm going to tell you, this is beta. I didn't put error or anything to protect you on this, so I tried to protect the cells that you absolutely can't delete. This spreadsheet's got a ton of formulas in it, and I'd recommend using buttons all the way, because if you use the buttons I've set up for you, you won't hose the formulas in the spreadsheet. But if you come in here and do a cut, you're doing a blow formulas out, and I'd sure make sure I had this this application backed up just in case you do like me and forget. And the final spreadsheet we have here is the purchase sheet, and here's where everything is broken down by percent portfolio. It tells you exactly how many shares of stock to buy. It tells you how much you've invested. Like this up here, I didn't make this pretty, but this is the amount you chose to invest from the last spreadsheet, and that shows you how close we came to hitting the target here. So let's get on with how to use this thing. So like I say, this is where the spreadsheet opens up, and it's sorted exactly like this, sorted by descending shares held. And the old version I had was set up like this, and it had buy, changing shares like this. But your mother had a very good point. We didn't have any idea how many mutual funds were doing this, and you can see how easily you could get burned here. We had one mutual fund say, hey, buy, increase the shares by this much, and I guess I was lucky when I used that old program, because we made a lot of money on it. But this means it's much safer when you go this way. And it shows Microsoft is the number 1 held stock, and it's held by 22 of the 70 mutual funds in the top 25. So it's and this includes bond funds that don't hold stocks. So in Google, Wells Fargo, Merck, You know, the big boys. So if you just wanted to have a portfolio of 20 stocks, you'd probably just pick these top 20 stocks here. And for an old retiree like me, that's probably a very good way to go. But we can get a little more clever. If you want to be a little more risque, you can sort by the number of funds holding stock. And you notice here, it sorts it by the number of, and it's a little different than the other one. And you just kind of go down here and choose these numbers. They're pretty large, and you probably won't go wrong. Like Merck, even though it's the fourth largest held stock, and that's what this rank base here is, number 4. They're selling a little bit of Merck, so I think we might be able to do a little better than that. And boy, you come to Pepsi-Cola, it's 23rd in the list of around 800 stocks, and they're buying on that. So Pepsi would be a good one to buy. United Health, that's a hot one. So that's how this works. Samsung Electronics, that looks pretty hot. This one, I don't know if we can buy or not. We'll find out. You could choose it. Anyway, that's how this works. And this is the one I'll demonstrate. You notice this yellow area here. This are the stocks I have in the worksheet. And we need to clear that out because I was messing around with that on the last time. So the way we do that, we go to the worksheet and prepare worksheet for paste. So we'll click that, and that safely removes all the crap here. So we'll come back here, and let's just pick out, I like Microsoft. Now you got 2 ways to choose your weights here. You can choose it in this column, or you can choose it in this column. But make sure if you stay with the same column for all the stocks you're going to purchase on this particular portfolio. So what you do is move the cursor to that column, say buy stock. And if you accidentally click it twice, it'll tell you you've already selected it. And Google, I'm going to select that because it's such a pain in the ass to build a portfolio. And well, I'm going to do this quickly. Well, Philip Morris has made us money through the years, so I'm going to take it. You notice I'm picking out the ones 4 and above here. And you can actually filter this if you wanted to. Come up and filter. Yeah, forget that. But you can filter it. You know how to filter. And we'll buy that stock. Make sure you don't select the whole thing. You just select one column. Or I got Procter & Gamble. Boy, Pepsi's hot. Amazon's made us something. Well, there's a hot one. I don't know what that company is. By the way, you got links in case you're curious what a company's about. You hold the control key and left click, and it'll tell you what the company's all about. And I do that all the time myself because I want to make sure I get stocks to pay dividends too, and that requires some research. And when I'm doing it, I also like to diversify, electronics and oil diggers and like to diversify my portfolio. So you really should take some time to research that by going to the links. And that's enough for a demonstration. So now then we go to the worksheet. And you notice we have our stocks selected here. Now we want to get the stock prices. And this spreadsheet tries to make a scientific wild-ass guess on how to distribute your portfolio. And to tell you the truth, this is all I use this spreadsheet for right here. And sometimes, and if you want to change the amount you want to invest, I guess you should do that here. So say like you want to invest 15, it defaults to $10,000. I type that in like that, and it'll take care of most of this stuff. And it tells you how much the guesser, we went over budget with the guesser that much. So we'll just go straight to the purchase sheet. And yeah, we'll delete it out. And oh yes, I wanted to make sure I picked Google. Look how Google hosts you with their $1,100, $38 shares. And I don't want Google eating up my whole portfolio, so I'll just type 1 in here. And it looks like it did a pretty good job. Now what you can do is click this button, one at a time. You notice how we're approaching that $15,000 mark. That's probably just about as much as I want to mess with it, because I want to pick some of the stocks myself that I want. So we'll resort this sheet with this button, and that puts it in descending order. And you look this over and want to make sure it's just exactly how you want your portfolio. Do you want more Microsoft stock? If so, I think I'd like to have 5 shares of Microsoft stock. And I like to have another share of Amazon. Well, that's been real hot lately. And notice this value here. Lets you know you can quit right now if you want to. Or you can make it as close to that $15,000 mark as you want. You just keep dinking with it. So we look at this portfolio, and it's just about how I'd like to have it. That looks pretty good. We got, although I don't know what SoftBank is. That stock makes me a little nervous. So let's make that 20. And then we come up here and click this, and it automatically adjusts. You just keep clicking it till it quits. That's the best it can do. And the reason I didn't write that in a loop, I didn't know what difference between the amount we're wanting to invest in this. I didn't know where we want to quit. So that's the reason it's not in a loop. You might want to change that yourself. And let's get that just a little bit closer. So let's buy 8 shares of Microsoft. And you just keep dinging with it like this. And like if you put in 50 shares here, it tells you you're over budget. Don't do that. So we'll make that 6. And we're going to call that good. That's close enough. So we'll resort it. And I tried every trick I could find in Open Office to fix this thing. We wouldn't print that top row, and I can't do it. So you can select a print area, or you can just print selected, select it like that, and print that, and then it prints out in a nice little sheet where you can go to E! Trade and tell everybody exactly how many shares you want of this stuff. So that's how you use the worksheet. And that's how you build your portfolio. And this is what you pay the big bucks for a financial advisor. Without a computer, this is just damn near impossible. It's really, really, really tough. So we come back. Now, say if you wanted to use this weight rather than this weight, you'd click on that column and follow exactly the same procedure I did before. And that's just about all there is to it. I couldn't find a really good way in OpenOffice to save this purchase sheet. And if you figure out a good way of doing that, you can do it with code, but I really didn't want to do that. And Mom said it's probably better to save the hard copy than it would be to save it on a computer anyway. And that's just about it. Any questions, let me know. Just send me an email. And that's just about it. I forgot to tell you about some very important things here, and I'll call this the oversight deal. Suppose you want to delete a stock in your worksheet. Like you want to delete Google, you just put your cursor on Google and say remove stock. And it'll ask you for this prompt. And I know this seems like a ridiculous thing to do, but I did this to protect you from deleting the formulas in this worksheet. Because once you screw up the formula, especially in the hidden columns, it's awful hard to get them straight again. And another thing, say you have your worksheet here and you want to decide you want some more stocks, you can go back and just remember how you selected your weights. So you come back to stocks to buy or sell. And say you want to buy some Procter & Gamble. Put your cursor there. Whoops. I already bought Pepsi. Let's see. Go down here a little farther. Oh, let's buy some IBM. So we'll buy some IBM, and that's all we want to buy. You notice, come down here with IBM, and we don't have any stock prices for that. So what you do is just set your cursor there and get stock price from selected stock, and lo and behold, there it is. And I guess you noticed we lost all of our links here whenever we did the delete. And if you want a link, you can always run this get stock prices again, and it'll put the links back in for you. And what else did I forget? I think I explained all this. I think that pretty much covers it. Except, I guess I should say, always check. This defaults to $10,000 every time you prepare a worksheet for paste. So if you only want to invest $5,000, you type in 5,000 there, and you can get away with it. Sometimes if you select too many stocks, these stocks will turn up zero here. So you have to be careful, and you can manually type in when you go to the purchase sheet. If they do turn up to be zero, you just put ones in for all the zeros, and that way you make sure you get all your stocks. So I think that's the main oversights I had in my long-winded video here. Love you.